sacred place that I could spread my beliefs.
A community that praises God and honors His teachings.
The church is Christ's community where we follow His actions.
I don't know.
Christ is the foundation of the church, and He's who it revolves around, and He's the center of everyone's life.
He is the center of the church, and we are supposed to follow His teachings and examples and practices.
The church is involved in my community's life and my life, as in praying for things that I want and believing that I can get them with God's help.
How about the community?
Community that I can incorporate things and that if I pray for things, it will come.
Church guides you to be better.
It's involved in my life because it gives me like a special like place that I can go and relate to God and His like community of like people and like followers.
The church does these things. Some churches actually help our community, as in donating things, and other churches just help us pray so we can look forward to the better things.
Does this through charity and the community coming together.
It does it by like giving like through mass and charity and like helpful events that like everybody can go to.
I am definitely involved in church by actually praying, and I'm more spiritual in church, and it opens me up to the heavens of God.
You're a better person, and you put people's needs before yours.
I'm more open to like other people's ideas and things because I think of like how it's really just God's idea on like how to fix things, and like everybody's giving like their own opinion on what could be done, and like God gave them all their opinions. So
That you can say what religion you are, but spiritually you have to have that religion that you want.
Spiritual but not religious is a person who believes in a higher power but doesn't act upon it. And I don't know what the other two are.
well, like spiritual, not religious, is like people that know there's a God but don't go to church, and they like understand and they do other things instead. Like they'll pray at home. I don't know the other two.
We chose to include this quote from the book because many of the people we interviewed did not know what individualism is. It explains how individualism is every person's ability to choose what to do and how do they practice their religion, but we still do need that sense of community from being in the religion. We also included this quote, which is about consumerism, because many of the people did not know what this was either. It's when we value material objects and goods more than our religion, which isn't really a good thing because we forget about God's creation and what He did for us, and instead we only value the material objects and like phones and stuff. The responses that surprised me the most were that people did not know that what individualism and consumerism were, and also that Shaheem's sister did not know how Christ is involved in the church. This really shows how we need to teach more about those topics. One thing I learned from this project is how people do feel a sense of community in the church. A second thing I learned is about individualism, consumerism, and what spiritual but not religious means. And I also learned how the church affects different people in different ways. One similarity I saw is that all three people notice what the church does for our community and they appreciate it, and also that they do have a similar sense in what the church is. But a difference I saw was that the age gap really affects what people think about the church.
During the interviews, nothing really surprised me because I've expected most of the people to go to church, so nothing really surprised me. The three things I learned from the interviews is that everybody has their different opinion about Christ and about the church. Some people believe in it more. Some people don't, and people go to church a little bit more than others, and more people are more religious than others. The similarities and differences are that most people at the school, most people we interviewed, they go to church. Most people, actually, all the people we interviewed, they go to church. They believe in Christ. They believe in God. The differences are they approach it differently.
Three things I learned from the interviews were that the church is more important in the lives of some than others, that people of the same religion can have different opinions on what their religion means to them, and that some hold Christ in higher regard in their lives than others might. A similarity between them is that they all share a belief in God and Jesus, and the difference is that they all have different viewpoints on similar topics. And what surprises me most is that they can all have a similar mentality without having any relations between them.
Three things I learned from the interviews are people that follow the same religion can have different interpretations of their faith. Many people do not know the meaning of consumerism and individualism, and there are many different ways the church brings the community together. A similarity between the interviews is all the people we interviewed believe in God. A difference between the interviews is all the people we interviewed were involved in the church in different ways. What surprised me most about the interviews was that all three people we interviewed, even though they were different ages, had similar views.